William Hartman stood quietly outside the towering gates of the Preston estate, holding a simple gift-wrapped box. It was a warm spring afternoon in California's wine country, and the sprawling venue buzzed with activity. Valets in crisp uniforms parked Porsches, Ferraris, and Bentleys. Waiters floated past carrying champagne flutes and caviar trays. William didn't fit in. He wore an old, wrinkled gray suit, the same one he had worn to his late wife's funeral 15 years earlier. His boots were scuffed, his pickup truck was a relic from another time, and the lines on his face, once symbols of a life well lived, were now seen by these polished guests as signs of irrelevance. As he approached the grand entrance, 2 security guards stepped into his path. "Sir, vendors should use the service entrance," one barked, looking him up and down with disdain. "I'm here for my daughter's wedding," William said simply, his voice calm but firm. The guard exchanged a smirk with his partner. "Name?" "William Hartman, father of the bride." The guards paused, confused, then radioed someone. Within moments, Madison's future mother-in-law, Clarissa Preston, swept into view. She wore a gown dripping with diamonds and a look of pure disgust. "I don't know who you think you are," she hissed, but Madison made it clear she wanted a certain standard at her wedding. William's heart cracked a little. He caught a glimpse of Madison, radiant in white, standing across the courtyard. Their eyes met for a split second, but she quickly looked away, pretending she didn't know him. The guards grabbed him roughly by the arms. Without ceremony, they shoved him back through the gates like a common trespasser. Guests turned their heads. Some whispered, some laughed. William didn't resist. He simply dusted off his jacket, straightened his back, and walked to his truck, a small box still clutched in his hand. Inside the box was a simple, handwritten letter, a blessing, a share certificate representing a third of his entire company, and a locket with his wife's picture, a wedding gift for his beloved daughter. But now, it didn't matter. They had humiliated him. Publicly, cruelly, deliberately, and they had no idea who he really was. William Hartman was no ordinary man. At 17, he had left home with $50 and built Hartman Industries from the ground up, an empire spanning real estate, tech, and energy. His net worth quietly hovered over $8 billion. He kept his wealth private, believing money didn't define love. Madison had grown up modestly, despite the riches behind the scenes. He had taught her humility, loyalty, and kindness. But somewhere along the way, college, new friends, new circles, she had changed. She had learned to crave status, titles, appearances. William had noticed, but he'd hoped the old Madison still lived inside her. Today, he got his answer. He made one call, to his private legal team, to the estate's real owner himself, to his financial managers. By nightfall, William had canceled every service contract linked to the Preston's companies, pulled funding from the groom's startup, initiated a quiet, devastating acquisition of Preston Enterprises' most vulnerable assets. In less than 24 hours, Madison's new in-laws would wake up to find their financial world collapsing. But that wasn't all. As the wedding reception raged on, lights glittering and music pounding, a convoy of black SUVs pulled into the estate. William stepped out, this time in a sleek black suit, not because he needed to show off, but because he wanted no confusion about who he was. He walked calmly up the stone path as startled guests parted like the Red Sea. The DJ cut the music. The wedding planner rushed toward him, frantic. "Sir, you can't." William held up a hand. He pulled out a folded document, the deed to the estate. "I own this property," he said coolly, his voice carrying across the courtyard. "And the lease agreement is terminated, effective immediately." Panic swept the party. Servers packed up half-eaten meals. Decorators ripped down flowers. The electricity was shut off without warning, plunging the $500,000 reception into darkness. People screamed. Some stumbled over each other in their designer heels, clawing for the exits. Madison pushed through the chaos, sobbing, mascara streaming down her face. "Dad, please, stop. This is my wedding." William looked at her, really looked at her for the first time in years. "Madison," he said softly, "a wedding built on shame doesn't deserve to last." Without another word, he turned and walked away. The Prestons were left standing in the ruins of their perfect night, the crumbling facade of wealth and status they had clung to so desperately. And Madison? She would spend the rest of her life learning that the man they had treated like nothing was the man who could have given her everything. But now, he was gone. Forever.